Hannah Zimmerman, and I am the Marketing and Communications Director at Historic Locust Grove. And welcome back to Collection Storage. I'm so excited to show you a very interesting book in our collection today. And I just want to make a quick note about how I will be handling this book. This book is best handled with clean, dry hands. Because we are still in a pandemic, I just wash my hands. I promise they are clean. And we handle paper artifacts like this book with clean, dry hands because cleaning them, washing our hands, make sure that all the oils that accumulate on our hands are mostly gone as much as we possibly can. And also, if I were to wear gloves when handling this book, those gloves might snag or tear any of the delicate pages or bindings or other parts of the book. So clean, dry hands is what I will be using to handle this book today. This book has tells a story. It also has a story. The publication of the book has a story. And I'm so excited to share the book with you today. Okay, so on the shelves behind me are some of our collection items, and we are going to take out one of the boxes and see the cool book that's inside. Are you ready? Let's go. Let's just take a look at some of the boxes we've got back here. Oop, there it is. Okay, so today we will be looking at the book Rambles in the Mammoth Cave, published by a visitor in 1845. Let's get this box open, shall we? So right from the beginning, this book doesn't look super exciting. It's got a pretty nondescript binding and cover. Certainly not an interesting book about caves, but let me tell you, Mammoth Cave was one of the hottest tourist attractions of the 19th century, and this is one of its first guidebooks. When we open this copy of the book, there are two interesting things just inside the cover. First of all, the signature of someone appears to be H. Hatby? I don't know. You tell me what you think that looks like. And then the sketch of a house. Now, this house isn't Mammoth Cave. It isn't Locust Grove. I don't know who drew this house or why. Was it the mysterious H. Hatby? I don't know, but I just think it's really interesting right inside the cover of this book. Okay, so a few pages on, we get to this title page that says Mammoth Cave and a map that is all taped and folded up inside this book. Now, this map is incredibly fragile, so I'm going to leave it all taped up. We're just going to leave it undisturbed inside the book. But this is a copy of the map that Stephen Bishop, an enslaved cave guide, drew of Mammoth Cave between 1844 and 1845. I'll include a picture of the map on the next slide. This map, drawn by Stephen Bishop, is one of the first and most complete maps to ever be published of Mammoth Cave. So it was a monumental undertaking by someone who was incredibly familiar with Mammoth Cave and all of its caverns and domes and rivers and wonders inside Mammoth Cave. So we see here the title page, Rambles in the Mammoth Cave during the year 1844 by a visitor. Louisville, Kentucky, Morton and Griswold, 1845. By a visitor, we do actually know who that visitor was. He was Alexander Clark Bullitt, a relative of Dr. John Cron. So here is the copyright page and the publisher's advertisement. And we have some records of some correspondence with Morton and Griswold, the publishers, between the publishers and Dr. John Cron, that I will share with you on the next slide. But the contract between Morton and Griswold and Dr. Cron. Louisville, December 18th, 1884. John Cron, M.D. Sir, we will print 1,000 copies of your book on Mammoth Cave, not to exceed 120 pages in the 12-number size for 23 cents per copy. Paper to be of handsome quality and to be bound in neat half morocco with cloth sides, lettered and filleted on the back.
If the book when printed should exceed the above specified number of pages, the additional charge will be only in proportion. If you request it, we will advance the requisite sums for such engravings as you may determine on, the sums to be advanced and be added to the 23 cents per copy as above specified, to be repaid us on settlement. Very respectfully, Morton and Griswold. Reverse labeled as follows, Agreement to print, Morton and Griswold. John Cron to Morton and Griswold, printers. Locust Grove, January 27, 1845. Dear Sir, in your presence, I requested the engravers of the map of the cave to strike off no more copies until I examined the one they handed me. They, however, at the insistence of Mr. Morton, struck off some 20 or 30 more, and would, I presume, have published some hundreds had I not here stopped them. Yesterday, I examined the map as printed. It is incorrect almost throughout. The most of the names are inverted, so that you have to turn the map upside down in order to read them. Many of the names are misspelt, and the letters are badly executed. For no consideration would I have it thought that I was, illegible, impalming upon the public such a bungling piece of work. Without the errors which I will point out can be corrected, I do not wish the publication of the map. Indeed, I would prevent it. As we know, the map was printed correctly in the copies of Rambles in Mammoth Cave. So it seems that Morton and Griswold and John Cron figured out the issues that first came up when printing the map.
This publisher's advertisement also has a lot of description about how you get to the cave. And then right here, you see a reference to Dr. Cron. That is Dr. John Cron. And then all on this page, you see a reference to Stephen, his guide. Stephen Bishop, who was the famous enslaved cave guide of Mammoth Cave during this period. He did the map, and he appears in this book several times. And his knowledge of the cave and his experiences leading visitors through the cave are mentioned in this book several times. So Stephen Bishop is the Mammoth Cave expert of 1845. So here we have the copyright page and the publisher's advertisement talking about Mammoth Cave. And I'm just going to flip through and show you some interesting facts about Mammoth Cave. I think number 5 is my favorite. Combustion is perfect in all parts of the cave. But I also like number 4. Reptiles of no description have ever been seen in the cave. On the contrary, they, as well as quadrupeds, avoid it. So no reptiles in the cave. And then here we have the table of contents with the table of distances. So Mammoth Cave is quite well documented in this little book. The book has several illustrated plates, like this one of the Star Chamber. Wow, can you imagine? So we get lots of great descriptions and images of the Mammoth Cave. I also wanted to show you this river scene in Mammoth Cave. If you've ever been to Mammoth Cave, have you ever been on the river? Wow, can you imagine traveling with only lantern light through Mammoth Cave? So I'm just going to put in a spoiler alert. Here is the last 2 pages of the book as they're leaving the cave and how they feel about leaving the cave. And I wanted to point this out because it's very dramatic. On our homeward bound passage over the rivers, our admiration was rather increased than diminished. The death-like stillness, the awful silence, the wild grandeur and sublimity of the scene, tranquilizing the feeling and disposing to pensive musings and quiet contemplation. I mean, that is a lot of emotion. I love it so much. That such natural wonders like Mammoth Cave, these beautiful, incredible formations and in our natural world, they give us big feelings. We have a lot of big feelings when we see them. In fact, the author of this book wrote, "We believe everyone will, under similar circumstances, experience the sudden transition from pensive musings to joyous hilarity. Leaving the rivers, we hastened onward to the outlet to the upper world." If you've ever visited Mammoth Cave, let us know in the comments. How did you feel when you were in the cave, and how did you feel when you left? But I also wanted to bring your attention to the last line. Once again, we have some annotations. No description can give you an idea of it, neither can inspection of other caves. It is the monarch of caves. None that have ever been measured can at all compare with it in extent, in grandeur, in wild, solemn, serene, unadorned majesty. It stands entirely alone. It has no brother. It has no brother. But I love this little notation right here. But is it like the mother? Oh, I don't know. I guess we'll close the book on that. Well, friends, that is the story of Rambles in the Mammoth Cave by a visitor, who we know to be Alexander Clark Bullitt, and the publication of the map drawn by Stephen Bishop in 1844 and 1845. Thank you so much for joining me in Collection Storage today. It's always such a pleasure to show you around our behind-the-scenes spaces. So let me know what you would like to hear about in Collection Storage next. I have some ideas, but I want to hear what you'd like to see from Collection Storage. So you can leave a comment below, and until then, I'll see you soon.